Injustice for the elderly. The elderly are not being properly taken care of as they should be. Many people would argue that the elderly are being terribly taken care of when being sent to nursing homes because the people working there are not there to care for them, but instead to serve their job. In many places in the world, the elderly are never a priority, but us as a community should serve the people who once served us with respect. The people who cared for us, loved us, gave their everything, are not being prioritized. Pope Francis shared his insight on why he thought on how humanity treats the elderly because of poor care being shown. He said the cruel abandonment of older persons, meaning that as humans we fail to care for the elderly, therefore abandon them in such a cruel manner. Pope Francis felt that he should step forward and show his insight and even made a day dedicated towards the elderly, the fourth Sunday of July. Compassion should be a prominent part when showing affection to the elderly. To put your loved ones in an elderly home is fine, but they took care of you, they showed you love. To take care of them, you don't have to be by their side every day, but instead, show them that you still care while you still have the time. Being in an elderly home means that you're letting other people take care of them and waiting for something to happen. Taking responsibility shows that you still love and care for the person. Life isn't long, meaning at any given time the person can pass away. Especially the elderly. Taking care taking the responsibility to take care of them means that you will have been with them when they pass or when they're still conscious. The cruelty that elderly face in nursing homes just because people are trying to work is disgusting. Taking care of them means that you have full control if they're fed properly and being treated appropriately. Genesis 1 states, "In the beginning God created heaven and earth," meaning that we should all be valued children of God. The dignity that elderly should be receiving is much higher than we set as the minimum. From the time they were conceived to the time of death, we should always treat them with respect. Treat the elderly better in the likeness of God as we reflect the image of God with our moral and spiritual nature. What does the word compassion mean to Pope Francis? To suffer with, in other words, to empathize with the suffering, or another to point of taking upon itself. His words mean His words meant that you should emphasize upon who is suffering and take it into your own point of view, giving the situation of suffering and understanding what they're going through. The meaning of compassion to Pope Francis should give us perspective of what we should be doing and reflect upon our actions as the next generation. Just because we're the next generation doesn't mean we should forget about the previous generation that made sacrifices they made for us to have the life we have today. Solidarity and God's creation. The correlation of injustice for the elderly is how we're not being considerate upon how everyone is a child of God. We all are, so we should respect the elderly and give them the same respect as anyone else. We should not treat them differently just because they're old age, and even putting them in nursing homes just because they're older. We are all one human family, no matter what racial, ethnic, economy, etc. Leviticus 9:18 states, "You shall not take vengeance or bear grudges any of your people, but you shall love your neighbor as yourself. I am Lord." Meaning that no matter who the person is, we shall love them from neighbor, stranger, friend as much as we love ourselves, no matter what wrong they have committed. Leviticus 9:18 states that revenge is not an option. Your enemy is a child of God, meaning that we should not hold grudges just because they have wronged us. Seniors should be carefully taken care of, and why risk the chance of them being taken care of incorrectly than do it yourself? Especially if the elderly is family, why should we be treating them in such a way? The elderly are a part of God's creation, so why are we treating them like they aren't, as if they're outsiders towards God's creation? We are all a child of God. Why are we giving them different treatment based on their age? Here is an example of mistreatment of the elderly in a nursing home.
I have laid in my own bowel movement for hours. Don't ever put your loved one in here, ever.
Strong words from a nursing home resident in South Buffalo who says she is trapped in a nightmare. Good evening, everyone. That woman turning to the 7 Eyewitness News I team to get anything, something, anything to change.
All new at 11, 7 Eyewitness News Chief Investigator Charlie Specht details this woman's disturbing complaints, the facility's troubling history, and what officials had to say when he pushed for answers.
I live in a nursing home,
The call came into the newsroom at 5 a.m., and the caller sounded desperate.
and I need someone to please investigate this place. It is so bad. Please, please help me.
She was talking about Sapphire Care in South Buffalo. Patients say it's long been a place of last resort. Rated 2 out of 5 stars.
All of God's creation should always be treated with kindness that we can give. We should not judge people or assume anything, because at the end of the day, we are God's children. Care for God's creation is to protect our brothers and sisters, and how are we protecting our seniors? By putting them in nursing homes. The workers at the nursing homes are not there to care for them, but instead get money in order to live. So no matter what they do in their job, it's not genuine, and they aren't trying to take care of retired people at the kindness of their hearts. Human dignity means that we believe we are all made in the image and likeness of God. We should all be treated equally and fairly. Every person of God's children. We should treat everyone the same no matter who they are. Even though they are growing old, they still have meaning in the likeness of God. Taking care of them helps them live their life and fulfill the rest of the likeness of God.